Hi, welcome to Fostering Resilience. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you Dr. Dan Siegel's hand model of the brain. And if you haven't seen this hand model of the brain yet, I think that you're going to be very happy that you clicked on this video, because for me, when I first saw this hand model of the brain, it was just mind-blowing. It really helped me to understand the impact of my addiction on my brain, and it also helped me to understand the role of the solution, which I'm going to share with you. The solution to begin to strengthen your brain and take back control of your brain. And it's so easy and it's so simple. I'm so grateful to Dr. Dan Siegel for creating this hand model. And if you want some more information on it, you can go and watch his videos as well, because I'm going to explain it to you very simplistically, because I am not a medical doctor. I am an education doctor. I have a doctorate, a PhD in education. So just to clarify that, I love to educate people. So hopefully this is going to educate you and help you and bring to an awareness for you exactly what's going on in your brain. Well, maybe not exactly, but a very helpful general idea. So let's get right into it. This is information that I share with family members, individuals in treatment. I go out into schools and I talk to middle schoolers and high schoolers about the impact of vaping, and I share this hand model with them because it helps everybody to just really understand much better what's going on. So here we go. We have my fist here, okay? So my fist represents your brain. And if you think of my arm here as the spinal cord that is going up into your brain, with this being the wrist area being your brain stem that goes up into the center of your brain, which when I cross my thumb over here is the limbic system, okay? So this whole area here, and there's a lot that's going on that I'm not gonna go into details, but there's signals that are coming from your body that are going into your brain stem that are then creating emotions, which are stored here in the limbic system, okay? So our fight, flight, and freeze response, or fight, flight, freeze, or even faint response resides here in the brain stem and then goes up into the limbic system to create emotions, okay? So this is also this area, because it's underneath the cortex area, which is here on the top when I close over my fist, is referred to as the subcortical area. So it's all the stuff that's sort of like going on, you know, underneath, behind the scenes, and a lot of times we don't have like a conscious awareness of it. It's all being stored in here. So for example, like if you have an experience that's laden with a lot of intense emotion, it gets stored in this limbic system here. And so I close over my hand and make a fist here, and right here from the top of the knuckles down to like the top of my fingernails is the cortex area. But what I would like to go into explaining is this prefrontal cortex area. And I have to turn my screen on there again so you can see my website right there. So this prefrontal cortex area is the area that I want to highlight and emphasize, because this is the area of the brain that integrates, okay, the emotions with our like rational thought. So this is the area of the brain that causes the pause. This is the area of the brain that causes us to think through things before we do them, okay? So I'm going to give you an example that I use every time I present this hand model, and that is when we get angry, right? Because the truth of the matter is everyone gets angry. I get angry, you get angry, everybody in the world gets angry, because that's a part of our fight, flight, and freeze response. That's a part of our most primitive area of the brain. It's meant as a survival instinct, you know, so we all get angry. And in fact, we all get so angry sometimes that we really want to like punch somebody or punch a wall or do something or act out, right? But what keeps us from punching someone or acting out or doing something else that maybe is aggressive is this prefrontal cortex, okay? So it's this prefrontal cortex that causes us to pause and think about what the potential consequences are of our behavior, right? And what could happen if we act out in that way, like if we were to punch somebody. So it's a really important part of the brain. And what happens is that through the use of substances like nicotine, like marijuana, like alcohol, and other drugs, it weakens this area of the brain. In fact, there are other stronger drugs where it actually triggers an area of the prefrontal cortex that causes this craving of wanting more and more and more. But I'm not going to go into that today. What I really want to emphasize today is the weakening that takes place of the prefrontal cortex. So what happens when this area is weakened is that our emotions wind up blowing through the prefrontal cortex and we don't have any impulse control. And so the best way for me to describe this is like, you know, being somebody who went through the experience of being in active addiction. I know that I did things that I would never do, you know, when I'm sober, and that's because of this prefrontal cortex area, not thinking through it, you know, taking over, and just acting on impulse. And in fact, drugs and alcohol will disconnect this area completely so that you're in complete chaos, if that makes sense. Okay, so Dr. Siegel uses the example of like flipping your lid. He describes it as flipping your lid. When I talk about it, I refer to it as like flipping out. Like if you've ever seen somebody who's flipped out, like what does that mean when somebody flips out? What it means is that they're totally acting on emotion, right? There's like no rational thought taking place at all. And so what that means is they're, like Dr. Siegel says, they're flipping out, so that means their emotions are blowing right through the prefrontal cortex. Okay, so they're acting completely on emotion and not on any kind of rational thinking whatsoever. Okay, so most important part of this whole thing. Well, first I want to say that this is, if I hold this up, this is the area of the brain. The prefrontal cortex is right back here. So the most important part of this is that we can strengthen this prefrontal cortex, okay? Because I think back, like when I started to learn that nicotine is actually something that decreases the prefrontal cortex, I started to think back to like how early it was that I started smoking, and the weaker our prefrontal cortex, the more susceptible we are to developing addiction. And so people are often born with weak prefrontal cortexes. People are born with strong prefrontal cortexes. So there are some people that are actually born with this resilience to developing addiction. And so that helps to kind of explain like why some people develop addiction, why some people don't, why some people, you know, develop addiction sooner rather than later. Of course, there's, you know, drug potency and all of that comes into play, but the prefrontal cortex is absolutely involved in all of that. But the key is that we can strengthen the prefrontal cortex through mindfulness meditation, okay? So what does that mean when the prefrontal cortex gets strengthened? It means that you're going to be able to have that pause. You're going to be able to think through what you do before you do it and make healthier choices for yourself. So what I think that this means, not only for me, but for my family and for my loved ones, is that you want to be teaching, first of all, you want to be practicing mindfulness meditation. I mean, it is so powerful in developing resilience. And not only that, I recommend that if you have children, that you are introducing them to mindfulness meditation now. Like, it doesn't matter how young they are. I have a girlfriend in New York, and her son he just turned 10 this year, but he's been practicing mindfulness meditation for years. And so the sooner, the better. Because if you're born with a weakened prefrontal cortex genetically, if you start practicing mindfulness meditation at a young age, you can counteract that and you can develop resiliency to developing addiction, to crossing over into addiction. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope that you're as excited about it as I am, because I think it's just absolutely like amazing, and it's what really caused me to implement mindfulness meditation on a regular basis into my routine, and it's helped me tremendously. I need to actually do it more. So like the more that I do these videos, the more I remind myself that I have to do it even more and more and more. And it does help. And I have a special gift for you today because this is my second to last video of the year. I have one more to release next week. And so I have a gift for you today and I have a gift for you next Monday. So definitely join me back here next Monday to get that gift. And I think you're going to be really excited about the gift today. I hope you will because it's huge. It's a mindfulness meditation mastery ebook and it's like 91 pages. And so it's like everything that you need to know to get started on and to master mindfulness meditation. So if you go in the description, there's a link in the description. All you need to do is click on that link, put in your email address, and I will send you over that ebook absolutely free. And take advantage of it because mindfulness meditation can absolutely change your life because it changes your brain. And please join me back here next week. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, click on the red subscribe now button below, and when the bell pops up, which it will, if you click on that bell, then you will be alerted every time I upload a new video. I upload videos every single Monday. So hope to see you back here next week. In the meantime, I hope that you and your family have an amazing holiday and a blessed week, and namaste.